The title of my post today from the book Floods Upon Dry Ground is from chapter 7, Fiddling While Rome Burns. Last time in Floods Upon Dry Ground, chapter 6, Why No Revival, pastors Bobby Duncan and James Jones cited reasons why there is no revival in today's world. And they gave 3 actions Christians must do for God to work. In today's post, Floods Upon Dry Ground, chapter 7, Fiddling While Rome Burns, the authors used the well-known metaphor of what happened in 64 AD when during Emperor Nero's reign, literally 70% of Rome burned to the ground. Duncan and Jones clarified that there were actually no violins back then, but some creative soul initiated the term anyway to decry Nero's inaction to save Rome. They compared it to today's world that is falling apart, and the church, for the large part, being concerned with what the authors deemed petty, unimportant matters. The authors asked the question, where are the shepherds? I recognize that question because back in 2019 I asked Bobby Duncan that same question. I was concerned that before I had him as a pastor, I had 40 plus years of ineffective shepherds, ones who seemed to have agendas other than to find and save lost sheep from peril. Pastor Duncan confirmed that he included my question in the book. Duncan and Jones quoted Ezekiel 34, 1 through 6. I'll read only verses 4 through 6. You have not strengthened the weak, healed the sick, bandaged the injured, brought back the strays, or sought the lost. Instead, you have ruled them with violence and cruelty. They were scattered for lack of a shepherd. They became food for all the wild animals when they were scattered. My flock went astray on all the mountains and every high hill. My flock was scattered over the whole face of the earth, and there was no one searching or seeking for them. The authors wrote about modern-day shepherds, that position, acceptance, and money often trump the high calling of God in Jesus Christ and the sacrifices he calls on his ministers to make. Duncan and Jones then talked about the true presence of God along with the self-serving nature of its shepherds, that forgiveness, cleansing, godly living, and sacrificial service have been pushed to the background in favor of seeker sensitivity, entertainment, feel-good music, and a man-orchestrated worship experience. They wrote, God's presence doesn't necessarily leave because the lights are turned down and a theater atmosphere is created, but does it offer the best environment for corporate worship? James Jones lamented the following found on page 85 in the book. I'll find it here. For example, for me growing up in a full gospel church and seeing true saints of God pray and worship with uplifted hands and at times tears coursing down their cheeks had a powerful effect on me, and still does. Many times, worshipers, such as I, have looked over to see a blessed saint of God with a bony, arthritic hand stretched toward God and eyes filled with tears, expressing love to the Savior in complete surrender. And to see that deeply spiritual action has always brought its own blessings and encouragement. Yet in today's theater-like worship environment in many churches, it's difficult to observe that. The observations and personal interaction seem to be missing. Duncan and Jones said that there's a great need for the true presence of God to fill our hearts and our worship centers where we come together. They encourage pastors to sincerely seek God for the direction that will best serve that particular body of believers. The authors strongly encourage that the real truth of the gospel be reaffirmed, and that a deeply divided nation needs truth more than ever. They shared the sobering fact, however, that if the church shares real truth, it will be met with strong opposition. But not to do so will lead the church to continue fiddling while Rome burns.